Hello guys, what's up? This is the second part of Moema. I told you guys I was gonna come here and make a video about the other side of Moema, which is the Indians. The part where all the names of the avenues are Indian names. The other one was birds and now Indians. But today I have a special guest that is gonna walk with us. You're gonna see who he is after the intro. Hello guys, how you all doing? I'm going to speak with a cell phone in hand like this because I'm having problem with my mic again. I need to buy another one. But anyways, we are back. My name is Mark Saint and this is Brazil Subtitled. If you guys don't know, it's your channel to get to know all you ever wanted to know about Brazil, but in English. And today we are on the second part of Moema. And if you guys haven't seen the first part of Moema, I'm gonna leave the card right here for you guys to click and watch. I told you the first time that Moema is divided by two parts. Basically we have Avenida Ibirapuera cutting it, and one side is with names of birds and the other side is with names of Indians. So we have recorded the bird side and now it's the Indian side. And of course, to help me, I have a guy that never shows up around here. Never. Do you know him?
I never show up.
Neo Sanjin is with us. Thank you very much for, first of all, for accepting my invitation. Let's keep walking because we have to cover a big part of the neighborhood today. Thank you very much for accepting. Neo, you know, he's almost the host here. Actually, he was the host in one of the videos. And I asked him to come here with us because I wanted to show you, to talk to him about his stay here in Moema, but Brazil. He's been here for 5 months, right, Neil?
Yeah, about.
And how are the 5 months going?
They're going really good. As a matter of fact, I felt like the time has gone by really quickly.
Really fast.
Really fast.
So where are you staying now? I'm
staying in Copacabana in Rio. But while I was here for 1 week in Sâo Paulo, I was in Ipiranga.
Oh, very nice. So you are still here in Ipiranga until tomorrow?
Until tomorrow morning, yeah.
Tomorrow you fly back to São Paulo?
Back to Rio tomorrow.
Back to Rio, sorry.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, back to São Paulo. Neo, let me just see what avenue this is. Okay, we have to walk one more. Hold on a second, guys. I have to do everything here. Interview the guy. Interview the guy, be the cameraman, and also hold the microphone, which sucks. Let's go. I think we can go now. So guys, I'm gonna start showing you the neighborhood so you guys can appreciate a little. There is an avenue that I want to show you that is called Avenida dos Anapurus. It has a lot of bars, a lot of restaurants there. So I'm gonna get it from the end to the beginning and show you everything. So Neo, 5 months here, is that correct?
5 months, about. So I arrived December 26th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's almost about
5 months, right? And third time in Brazil or fourth?
It's the fourth, actually.
My
I thought
God.
it was the third, but then I said, oh, it's actually the fourth.
Yeah, because I believe, Neo, you came here before we met, right?
Yes,
A little before the pandemic started. It was 2020, wasn't that correct?
Right.
Apparently it was you, Saif, Kevin, right? Many other people, no? Jonathan?
Yeah, Jonathan, Michelle. We all came for Carnival in 2020, right before the pandemic took a turn.
Okay. Yeah. But you just stayed in Rio, or you got to visit São Paulo at that time?
I just stayed in Rio for 2 weeks, and then I came back at the end of the year, December 2020, and then my first time in São Paulo was right after Christmas, I believe, of 2020.
Okay, so then the second time you came to São Paulo, right?
Yes.
And that's when we met.
That's when we met.
Okay, so how different has this trip here been from all the others?
That's a really good question.
Thank you very much. That's why I am who I am. Who are you? Nobody.
You're the great Mark Saint. I would say this trip, I guess because I went to 3 states. So I was here in São Paulo. We started here. and then look at this plane. And then we went to Salvador Bahia for Carnival in February.
Sorry guys, we get really distracted when there are airplanes flying over.
So like I was saying, I started in São Paulo, end of December to January. And then February I was in Salvador Bahia for Carnival.
Okay.
And then March I went to Rio, and I've been there since. But I would say
so a month in São Paulo,
off in São Paulo.
a month in Salvador Bahia for Carnival,
Correct.
and 2 months in Rio.
2 months in Rio with there was a couple of days back in São Paulo, and then this week now in São Paulo. But yeah, definitely Rio was the longest time on this trip. Or maybe it's close between Rio and São Paulo.
Where are you staying this time around in Rio?
In Copacabana.
And how has the experience been? Because I've seen pictures of the apartment. It's gigantic, guys, gigantic.
Yeah.
I think you could have like 3 families in there.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's large. There are 2 full-size bedrooms, and then the other 2 rooms, which can also operate as an office, also have like twin beds in there. So you have that. You have 3 bathrooms, a decent sized kitchen, the living room. So it's spacious. For 2 people, it's a ridiculous amount of space.
And I think last year you were in Ipanema, is that correct? Leblon, sorry. And can you compare both places so that people who are thinking of going to Rio can make up your mind through your experience?
Sure. So if I had to make a comparison, I would say the place that we had in Leblon, it wasn't a big size. You know, it says it's 2 bedrooms, but it's really 1 room and another. Who knows what the second room was before, but it was converted into a bedroom.
I hope it was not a dungeon.
But needless to say, there were tons of problems with the place from, I want to say, day 1 or day 2. Compared to this place,
what sort of problems did you have?
Leaks. Even the drain in the kitchen was so tiny. If you just cut, let's say, some fruit, or some stuff got put into the drain, that was it. The bathroom sink drain was also tiny, so that had an issue. The shower had an issue. There was also an issue with apparently the AC unit, which was connected to the unit above and the unit below. So there was always somebody coming or somebody calling about some potential issue.
I'm sorry, guys, another airplane.
Yeah.
I received some messages, some comments
Sure.
on the first video that I made, like, hey, Moema is too noisy for me.
Really?
Yeah, because there are airplanes flying over all the time. But that's because Congonhas is in that direction, right there. So that's why, okay? But it's not that bad, so just when airplanes fly over and you are on the street, that's all. So your experience with the condo was not good, right? In Leblon.
No. It was.
And on top of that, the neighborhood is ridiculously pricey, isn't it? Because it's Leblon, the most expensive square meter in Brazil. Is that right?
Exactly.
And what is the experience now? What is it like?
In Copacabana?
Yes.
So I would say the experience, it's definitely better than Leblon. Outside of a couple of rules for the unit, and at least in the beginning, the internet was an issue. And that took maybe like 4 different visits until it was deemed to be stable. But outside of that, I mean, it's going fine. I wouldn't say it's the greatest experience, but it definitely beats the experience in Leblon. And the price as well.
I'm gonna ask you a question that is gonna piss a lot of people off. I think you can already imagine what I'm gonna ask you. And I think I'm gonna put you in a hard spot, right? Because, okay, which of these places the internet works better? Is it São Paulo or Rio?
I would say, at least in my experience, the places that I've been to, it's been in Sao Paulo.
Okay.
Like, for example,
Really different, or just a little. Like, it's not that much. It's just
no. In terms of the stability of the internet and the actual speeds, because I check this a lot, it's definitely much better here. Like, for example, the place I'm staying at in Ipiranga, the internet is really fast. And when I asked the lady, she said, yeah, it's fast. People work from here. I've asked some of the hosts in Rio the same thing. Or like the place we're in Rio, they said it's 500 megabytes. It's nowhere near that.
Okay, why am I asking you a question about internet? Just let's remember that Neo is a digital nomad. Sometimes I have to touch the camera for us to see ourselves again. So remember, Neo is a digital nomad. Without a good internet, there is no work.
No work.
You cannot talk to the people back in the United States, so he's done. He needs to have a good internet. So if you guys are planning to move to Brazil, if you guys are planning to work from here, you gotta take the internet connection into consideration. Is that right?
Right. And if I was to just add one thing, just as much as possible, try to have some tests run. Because I'm sure you can find places in Rio that have good internet, but those tests are going to be crucial. You can't just take somebody at their word. Oh, it's 500 or it's 400 megabytes.
Yeah.
You will be sadly mistaken and disappointed.
People tend to over-exaggerate the connection, right?
Correct.
Let's keep walking, Neil, because I want to show you Moema. How do you like the place so far?
I like it. I mean, I like it from the different businesses I've seen to the apartment buildings. Even the neighborhood itself, it's a nice, at least for a Sunday, it's not noisy, but you have some people outside.
Yeah, we are at the beginning of an important avenue here, so of course, or I would say at the end, maybe, depends on where you're coming from, but we're still gonna pass by some interesting bars that I have saw along the way. And they're gonna be packed probably. I don't know at this time because it's past 3 o'clock right now. But it's an interesting place if you guys want to be in a place where nightlife is essential. Maybe the place here is not the best nightlife in the city, because Neo has been, for example, to many other places like Vila Madalena, right? Vila Madalena tends to be better, I believe.
Yes.
But I want you guys to have an idea. That was a private one, Neil.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It went by so quick, I barely saw it.
Yeah. Some billionaire going to Fiji or something like this,
that would
right?
explain the speed.
Yeah, really fast. Really fast. So, Neil, I've asked you about... Oh, I didn't ask you about Salvador. How was it like going to Salvador for the first time? The capital of Bahia, where Carnival is like they eat, breathe, and sleep Carnival. Actually,
They literally do. I mean, you've told me before I went, and you were 100% correct. So I would say getting there and spending time outside was really good. Definitely being outside during the different I think, what do you call them? Pipoca? I forget what it's called. The events right before Carnival. So they have events that happen right before Carnival with a lot of the big stars. But just to see the energy of the people,
look, I know Carnaval fora de época. I don't know if this is what you're talking about, but I don't think it is, because Carnaval fora de época would be a carnival that is held like in months away from Carnival.
No. So this is just something that's days right before the official.
Guys, if you know more about the Carnival in Brazil than me, please write on the comments. Look how nice this place is. Terra Fruta. A lot of interesting places for you to eat. By the way, have you had lunch yet?
I have not.
Yeah, neither have I. So I know who's gonna foot the bill now. I'm kidding. So was it good? Salvador was good.
So I would say the events that I went to, overall I enjoyed them. I just wish I prepared more for the heat. It was extremely hot.
Really?
In
How hot are we talking about? Like
I think
30, oh sorry, 90, 97 Fahrenheit.
I'm not sure if it was that hot, but I think the humidity is what was the killer. But I would say one of my most memorable moments there was going to Pedrinho, and I went a couple of times. You know, just being there, seeing the different buildings, the different structures, listening to, you know, seeing capoeira being performed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How was it? Was it good?
It was really good. Even seeing the famous house where Michael Jackson shot his video at.
Wow, that was in Pelourinho, right?
Pelourinho, yeah.
It became a museum. What do they do
I think
there
so.
today?
So
I'm gonna leave some pictures. Sorry to cut you
No,
off.
that's fine.
Gonna leave some pictures so you guys can understand what he's saying.
So the time that I passed out,
That was a big one.
yeah. So the time that I passed by, the place was closed, and it made sense because a lot of things were happening on the street. So I'm not exactly sure what goes on there, but the amount of businesses in Pelourinho is absolutely insane. You know, from obviously hotels, I know some people live there, to different places you can buy souvenirs, areas to eat, the different museums that are there, the different cultural centers. There's just so much there. And it's actually a really good walk from when you start to reaching the end. And I know before you reach there, there's the famous elevator. What is it? Elevador.
Elevador Lacerda.
So that's there right before. You can take the elevator up and then see a view of the area and then walk through Pelourinho. So for me, that was one of the big highlights of the trip because there's so much rich culture there that I feel like somebody would have to spend a couple of visits at least in order to really get the most out of it.
That's really interesting. Let me ask you, Neil, was it hotter than Rio? Or basically same temperature, same sensation?
Well, I'll say this. The time that I went to Rio in March, the temperature dropped. I know Rio had a crazy heat wave. When was it? December to Jan? I think either December or January.
Yeah, because that would be the peak of summer,
Right.
I believe.
And I remember because of the time Taylor Swift had her concert, and I remember some of the fiasco, how hot it was. So I can't speak for that temperature, but at least when I went in March, right, when the temperature drops, it's probably not the best comparison.
Okay, but what was the best part of this being in the city? So that you guys can have like a suggestion if they decide to go to Salvador.
Salvador?
Yeah.
I would say so if somebody's going during carnival time, definitely try to go to as many of the circuits as possible.
Okay.
Of course, it's going to be extremely busy, for some it might be overwhelming, so definitely come prepared with, you know, how you dress, what you carry, but it's definitely a fun experience if you want to be around people, if you want to see how people enjoy carnival there. The electricity, the buzz is absolutely insane, and how far they're willing to walk. Well, how would I call it? I guess dance walking, because they're moving while dancing.
Yeah, they have
so
like,
many people.
I don't know if I would say a mile or something, or
Yeah.
maybe more.
It could be more.
But it's roped off, and
Yeah.
people buy those abadas,
abadas.
which is like a T-shirt that gives you the right
Right.
for you to be inside of that party.
Right.
And once you are there, you can be close to the trio elétrico. What is a trio elétrico? Can you explain the guys?
I would say so. It's how would I explain? I guess it's a really what I classify it as a bus, right? I guess I would call it a bus.
It's like actually a truck, right?
right. You're right. It's a truck.
A music truck.
Yeah.
It has big speakers.
Right. Really big speakers. So I would say that too. If you are sensitive to sound, you might not want to stay too
Yeah,
close.
like the bass and of the sound, the beat of
it's really-
like it moves you off the ground. It's unbelievable.
Right. And because you have a number of those trucks, you know, there's some distance, but there's one, then the next, then the next. If you have, you know, if you're sensitive to sound, I would say, you know, keep some distance because it's really pounding. You know, so you have the performers on top.
Did you buy an avatar?
I-
Avatar, no, Abada. My God, I'm a terrible Brazilian.
Actually,
But the avatar belongs to James Cameron. Sorry, it's not for sale.
so I actually didn't buy one, but so like I said, you said it correct. You won't be directly with the truck, but you can still be around the perimeter. But of course, if you're gonna do that, just be aware that it's gonna be so many people. And if you're with, let's say, some friends, you could easily get lost. Because as the music is playing and people are enjoying it, people are jumping, people are moving, anything can happen in terms of your group being broken up. So just keep that in mind.
No, very interesting. So then Rio again for the third or fourth time? Fourth time in Rio? Because all the trips that you had, you went to Rio, right?
Actually, there was one trip, the trip that I stayed 3 months in São Paulo, I didn't go to Rio.
Oh yeah, that was 2021, I believe.
I think it was 2021.
Oh my God, I know a lot about your life, no?
That's how close we are.
Yeah. So, I don't know if it's too private for me to ask this, but what are you doing in São Paulo? Because you're staying there for 2 months. What are you doing in São Paulo exactly?
Oh, in Rio?
Is you like second time you've come here since you went to Rio?
Yes. Actually, it's the second time I've come since I've went to Rio. So you said, what am I doing here in São Paulo?
Yeah. Well, what is the purpose of visiting São Paulo like twice during the period that you are supposedly staying in Rio, right?
Sure. So one reason is definitely to see you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Look at my happy face.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Basketball with the guys.
Yeah. Neil is already part of the group that plays basketball every Fridays. He's even in the WhatsApp group, right, Neil? Speaking Portuguese a lot with the people. By the way, how's your Portuguese?
It's getting better.
Quer dar uma entrevista em português?
Sim, vamos.
He speaks really good Portuguese. The merit's not only for me and the course, but also for his dedication, right, Neil?
Yeah, but a huge part of that goes to you and the method that you have. Honestly, it's been helpful, especially when...
Oh, I didn't pay him for him to say that. I have to make it very clear, okay?
Especially when talking with people on the street. You know, everybody, just like I'm sure in English and any language, people have different speeds at which they talk. So your method has really been helpful in capturing the important parts to be able to respond. So I can't thank you enough for that, because it's helped me in so many situations on a daily basis. I'm like, whoa! I mean, if I would text you all the times it happened, man, you wouldn't be my friend anymore.
Yeah, Neo has a lot of friends here in Brazil, so it helps him a lot to speak Portuguese, right? Because a lot of people don't speak Portuguese in this country. So, don't speak English in this country. So you gotta somehow try to learn a little Portuguese. By the way, if you guys are interested, check this account out. And I have my own Portuguese course in which Neo is a student. Not only him, but Jonathan and Kevin as well. Guys that have been to the channel before. Neo, let's keep moving. Want to show you more of Moema. I think we can go through this, right?
Yeah.
So Neo, one of the reasons was to visit me and the guys. What other thing are you doing in the... Even the dog has a picture.
The other reason was some preparation for the next trip. As we touched on earlier.
Can you repeat? Sorry, I didn't have the microphone on you.
I said the other reason was preparation. Sure. Preparation for the next trip. As we said earlier in the talk, time goes by so fast.
Yeah.
1 month, 2 months, 3 months, it goes by quick. So I came here to also look for potential places to stay. Because I think, at least for me, it's going to be different for everybody else, but São Paulo would be a really good hub for my plans for next trip. If I decide to venture out to go to many different parts of Brazil, I think a good hub would be São Paulo. So that was another big reason for coming this week.
Nice. So you're looking for a place to stay, and why do you say here it would be a good hub for those who don't understand Brazil very much?
Sure. So I know for me,
because first thing foreigners think of would be Rio.
Right. And for some people, Rio would be the place to do it. But I know for me, in terms of, I guess, certain areas that I really fell in love with. So whether it's, Villa Madalena or Pinheiros, or even, being in Ipiranga, there's a number of areas. Like even Moema, I like the area. Rio has areas that I like as well, but I know for me, in terms of when we talk about, I guess, internet, in terms of pricing, I think I could find it, at least for my situation, a little easier here. And I'll say one other thing, at least in terms of getting back and forth to the United States. At least as of now, it seems like there are more direct flights out of Guarulhos, at least to New York, than there are from Rio to New York. Usually there's a stop either in Sâo Paulo if you're going to leave Rio, or you'll have to stop in Miami before going to New York. They do have some direct flights, but it seems like Guarulhos has the most direct flights.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Guarulhos is the international airport of the city. So you guys have to go to Guarulhos if you want to come to Brazil through São Paulo. Okay? Something interesting, I don't know if you guys noticed, he hasn't even expired his time here in São Paulo, or in Brazil I would say, and he's already considering or planning the next trip. Where does this passion for Brazil come from?
That's a really, really good question. I would say I definitely have to thank my good brother Kevin for at least planting the seed before 2020, and so that was my initial trip. But after being here and experiencing the culture, meeting wonderful people such as yourself, and honestly even the pace of life here, honestly I fell in love. I didn't even think that I would want to call Brazil home when I first came here, but after I left there was like a sense of something missing. And so now it's to the point where even after
So when you returned back to the United States, you felt that something was missing?
Right. I didn't feel the same. Definitely the way I left the United States, I didn't return. It's like, man, something is missing. And I thought maybe in the beginning it was just the pandemic. The pandemic happened, so something is off. But after each trip, as each trip progressively got longer, I realized as soon as I would get back to the United States, like, when can I start planning to go back to Brazil?
And guys, funny thing, it's not only his opinion, it's Jonathan's opinion,
Right.
It's Kevin's opinion, it's many other people's opinion, people who come to Brazil on a regular basis and they get to go around the country. And but in this group of ours, with the Americans and stuff, I feel that some people like Kevin, he prefers to be more like Rio based.
Right.
Where does this exploring thing come from? Okay. Have you ever been an adventurer, or Brazil begs for this, calls out for, hey, come see the Northeast, the South, because you are exploring more than the other guys, let's be honest, you and Jonathan.
Right, but I would say it's definitely because of different situations that we have. I would say if somebody's single, it's probably a little easier to get around. But it's like we got to.
Okay, that's not Kevin's case, right? He's married to our friend Michelle, right?
Right. Because he's the guy's extremely adventurous, but different situations. But I would say this: it's like as we got to see wonderful places, and in my opinion, Rio's wonderful, São Paulo's wonderful. But in your head, you're like, wait a minute, but there's 26 states in total, and one federal district.
Did you hear that? There are a lot of Brazilians that don't know the number of states and that there is a federal district. So congratulations, man.
Thank you. So you start to wonder, man, what else is out there? Just to see, just to experience. And I've always said, even if I say, São Paulo's going to be my home or Rio's going to be my home, there's something in my head that tells me, see as much as you can, experience as much as you can, especially in a country as wonderful as Brazil. And I'm sure there's going to be contrast. There's going to be things that are similar and things that contrast. And I'd like to see as much as possible.
I was gonna ask you a hard question, but I believe I know the answer. Like I was gonna say, is there anything that for you, come, that for you would be the thing that really made you decide on traveling here more often, or it's a combination of a lot of things that make Brazil special?
I would say it's a combination of a lot of things, but definitely the people, the culture. I would even say things such as the fresh fruit. There's definitely a lot here, and I think even for me before arriving to Brazil, I knew some stuff, but as soon as I arrived there, it's like, wow, there was so much stuff I didn't know, and then you're just curious to find out more.
Interesting. Is Portuguese essential for this discovery, for this experience that you guys are going through? Do you think learning the language here is, I believe, whatever or wherever you go, you don't have to really learn that language. I think you can explore the thing without knowing it. But how Portuguese changes the game, if it does actually?
Sure. So I would give this analogy. Without Portuguese, can you walk around the street? Can you maybe use the translator to help? Sure. But you won't get the authentic experience, and obviously there's a number of things that don't get translated well. But you also will feel left out because there's a lot of people that want to communicate with you. And then there's the language barrier. So I would say it's definitely essential, because you can get around, but it's essential to really get the connection that you want. And I feel like before that, you can't really come to a conclusion about the country or a place, because you would really be seeing it from the outside with very limited communication, and communication is key. You know, learning the language allows you to understand and be understood, and that's a huge part of any country, any culture. Because how, for example, would somebody know, what's true and what's not, and the person is actually here in the flesh, but they can't fully communicate and talk with different people, get their opinions, and even then form their own opinion on things from being in a place for a certain amount of time. So I would say it's essential, as with anywhere else you go, or you're going to be in a very tiny box and forming judgments that really probably won't be correct.
And there's another point, right, about learning the Portuguese language. The benefits of learning a second language to the brain are incredible. Like you can drive away dementia. Right. They say in even 20 or 30 years, if it's down the line for you. Right. And some other benefits, right? You enlighten areas of the brain that are gradually going dark.
Sure.
You illuminate, I would say. You illuminate parts of the brain that are going dark, especially past the age of 30. Right. Because you deal with memorization, you deal with repetition, you go back and forth to your own language. So yes, amazing. And in the meantime, while we listen to Neil telling his experience in this country, you guys have been seeing interesting bars and restaurants on the way. Like we just went past one that smelled really good. The steak was delicious with a lot of onions, and pretty soon we're gonna stop by and this is like an ice cream parlor. So pretty soon we're gonna stop by and grab something to eat because we're hungry, right?
Absolutely.
How about the Brazilian food? What can you tell me about the food?
Oh, I really like the food. I would say definitely the churrasco is definitely one of the highlights for me. Mm-hmm. Everybody has their own opinions. Definitely love acai a lot. Even the Brazilian breakfast, whether it's just having simple bread and maybe some butter.
But you might have to explain to the people watching the meaning of churrasco and the meaning of açaí. Now that you are getting to become a Brazilian, right?
That's true. So let me give a stab at açaí. So
One more block and I think we can come back. Okay.
Absolutely. Let's go. So I know it's at least the way a lot of the world knows it, because they have it in the United States, but obviously it's not like from Brazil. Usually you'll find it at some health centers, and they usually have like an acai bowl. You'll have you'll do a better. You're definitely better at describing, because acai is a fruit, right?
Yeah, açaí is a fruit. It comes from the north of Brazil. And when I say north, I really mean north, because some people sometimes say north and they mean northeast. But I mean Pará, Amazonas, where the rainforest is located. And they eat with salt in the morning for breakfast. Or not only just in the morning, but in different periods of the day, but it's with salt. And but here in São Paulo and many other states like Rio, for that matter, it's transformed into ice cream.
Yeah.
And we have it as an ice cream. My God, it's just delicious, because you can also mix it with the guaraná. Guaraná is also a typical a berry from Brazil. So we have the most famous soda, right, Neil?
Right.
So guys, we're back here. He has finished talking about dollars and business with the people in the US. He's a very important man. We tried to run away from Rio, but Rio runs after us. Look at that place. The place is called Bar Jobim, from Tom Jobim, and it's written, "O Rio continua lindo." Rio remains beautiful, right? Your experience with Rio is positive, other than the internet and everything.
Yeah. Really positive. I like Rio.
What do you like the most about the place?
I would say the beauty of the landscape. Beauty of the landscape, definitely the people. The Carioca spirit is something that I think everybody should experience when coming to Brazil.
Really?
Yeah.
So the interesting thing, guys, is that they're playing like bossa nova.
Yeah.
So there's a flute and everything. It's really nice. So Moema is outstanding, simply outstanding. Do you know that building there, Neil? That building. It's the one that Sâo is selling through La Vie.
Right.
So guys, there is a video. I'm gonna leave the card to show you. It's the building that La Vie is selling. So if you guys are interested, look at the neighborhood that you can have. Yeah, it's really cool. I really like that Bar Jobim. On my way here, I passed by and I noticed that they are playing bossa nova inside. Really nice, man. So Neil, can you disclose a little bit for us your plans for 2025 in terms of places to visit, or it's a secret?
No, I don't. It's not a secret.
What do you have in mind in terms of Brazil?
So my plan is to visit anywhere between 10 to 15 states.
During the next trip?
Yeah, it'll be my.
Look at my surprising face.
Yeah, it'll be my most ambitious trip yet. So.
In 5 months?
Yeah, in the 5 months. Or actually, that trip I probably will get to the 180 days, most likely.
Which is 6 months.
Yeah, which is the 6-month limit. So that's my goal. Mm-hmm. And so it'll be a lot of backpacking, the same way you have your backpack on right now. Mm-hmm. My goal is to, like I said, have a hub. So whether the hub is in São Paulo, to drop off my big suitcases and to plan, to go to, let's say, for example, like Curitiba for maybe 5 days or 6 days. Certain places I'll stay longer.
So there's a detail, guys. Neo is looking for a place to rent. Really rent, like a contract with a Brazilian landlord, to be able to come here more often. Why don't you transform this idea into something definite. Like, oh, I'm gonna live in Brazil for the next 10 years. I don't know, maybe the rest of my life. Don't you think like that?
Yeah, that's definitely part of the plan. But at that point, I would definitely want something the same way you just showed us the building that Sâo's company is working on.
Yeah,
that would be something I would be looking to when I say, okay, I'm ready to buy something and stay here, permanently. That's something that comes into mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your idea is not to rent while you're here. Your idea, if you one day decide to stay, you're gonna buy a property, like an investment.
Of course.
And São Paulo is the choice.
So I would say right now it's in the lead in terms of choices. But like I said, as I travel, could that change? It's possible. But I know no matter what, I'll definitely want something in São Paulo. And I would say even something down the line in Rio, whether that's something that I use as investment property or rental, because I mean everybody knows Rio is still a hub for many foreigners when they come to Brazil. So those are plans that I have, but definitely down the line. But definitely, at least for now, while I don't have, permanent residency, I'll rent, and that will still help me out in terms of I can leave stuff here and not have to bring everything back to the United States. Or I might be able to bring one spare luggage and stuff that I really like from Brazil. When I'm missing the country, I can put that in the luggage and take back to the United States.
Like, it's always a good idea to have two wardrobes, right, Neil?
I agree.
Because you can leave whatever you want to leave in Brazil and you use it whenever you're here. So
Sure. And I will tell people there are days that, the temperature does drop. So, even though typically when the weather is great, you can wear shorts, a t-shirt. There are days where you're going to want longer pants, a longer shirt, and maybe even a light jacket because the weather does fluctuate after you leave the summer season.
wonderful. Guys, I'm going to stop here. I have 1% battery, and thank you very much, Neil. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Neil is getting back to Rio tomorrow, and from Rio he's flying back to the United States, and he's gonna be missed a lot in this country. We will just see him next year, so it's a very special video we're making here, because I wanted him to be here because he came here and he kick-started the year of 2024 with the interview with me, and now it's the other way around. I'm interviewing Neil and thanking him for participating in this walking vlog. It was very special. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Moema, do you want to leave a message for the subscribers?
Sure. I would tell all the subscribers, continue to watch the channel. There's tons of great content, as you know. Mark Saint puts so much work into it. If anything you want to know about Brazil, he's your guy. I mean, you can even look at one of the recent videos when we were all worrying about whether we were going to need the visa on April 10th, and he was there right until the final moment.
It was a remarkable day.
A remarkable day when the news came out, and that was crucial for many people that were waiting, and this was going to be the make or break for them to come to Brazil. So he's your guy. Support the channel. You won't regret it, and you'll end up getting more out of it as you support.
Thank you very much. So guys, if you want to support us, we have communities here. We have 3 different products that you can choose and pick up the perks that really make sense for you guys to support us. Any price really helps this channel. Thank you very much, Neo. Thank you very much. Hope you guys have enjoyed Moema, and I'll see you soon. Oh, we have today's Sunday, I have to say, not the day that the video is being released, but we're recording on Sunday. So we have a live tonight at 6:00 p.m. I'll see you guys, or maybe I have already seen you guys. See you. Bye bye.
Ciao.